Hello, welcome to the 2022 Tech Talk Roles and Responsibility session that is being presented by our dedicated, determined, and dependable awesome tech team of the Alabama A&M Alumni Association. We will now have prayer by our National Chaplain, Mrs. Carol Watkins.
Good morning. Oh, God help through ages past, our hopes for years to come. Our shelter from the stormy blast, our eternal home. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you with humble hearts to say thank you. Thank you for Alabama A&M University. Thank you for these volunteers, Lord, who guide our Alumni Association. We pray that you hover over them, give them strength, give them courage, give them dignity, as we represent our university. In the name of Jesus and his almighty son, we pray. Amen.
Amen. The purpose of this session, it will focus on our national and chapter executive roles, as well as what is expected of our members. As you know, we are getting ready for an election, so you will find out more about our election later on in the program as our chairperson of the nominating committee will present the information. At this time, I would like to introduce our board of directors. I'd like to say that the structure of our association is consisted of a board of directors, which is the policy-making body, as well as the executive committee, which is the administrative body. As you can see, our board is made up of the president, regional vice president, president, vice president, regional vice president, immediate past president, recording secretary, financial secretary, treasurer, council of president, representative, and members at large. Whereas the executive committee is made up of the president, the vice president, immediate past president, recording secretary, financial secretary, treasurer, council of presidents, parliamentarian, executive secretary, and chaplain. I will be explaining the roles of the president. I am Mary Jones Moore, and I am the current national president of the association. As you can see on the screen, the president shall be the executive officer of the association, and as well as serve as the ex officio member of all committees except the nomination and election committee. The president presides over all general assembly meetings of the general membership, as well as the executive committee. The president appoints non-voting officers, committee members, and chairs, except for the nomination and election committees as stated before. The president shall perform other duties of the office as required with the approval of the board of directors or the executive committee. The president shall also recommend an annual budget to be approved by the executive committee. We will move forward with the rest of the board of directors explaining their positions and roles. Terrence Bickerstaff is our vice president. And as you see, the vice president shall perform the duties of the president's in absence of the president and other duties which is assigned. And the president shall coordinate activities for the association, and they will chair the program committee.
Hello, everyone. The roles and responsibilities of the regional vice president. My name is Jamal Ali. I'm region vice president of Region 7. And as you can see, there are 8 regions that we have. And basically the role of the vice president is to assist the president, but our primary function is to grow chapters and to grow memberships across our respective regions. So of the 8 regions, we have 7 directors, vice presidents. Region 1 is Erica McLean. Region 2 is Sarah Rabowski. Region 3 is run by Keisha Atkins. And Region 3 also includes the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, the Caribbean, and Bermuda. Region 4 is Roderick Hudson, which includes Alaska and Hawaii. Region 5 is Chandrika Gavan. Region 6 is Africa. So you can see geographically how we're spread out and organized, but it's like a corporation, how you have regional vice presidents across the country managing various regions to assist the president. So this is no different. But just want to speak a little bit about where we are right now in our times, because the Alumni Association is strong, and our fundamental mission is to grow membership. And so we want to take advantage of the times that are going on right now. As we all know, the HBCU brand is extremely strong right now. After George Floyd, there was a reawakening that has still occurred around the world. And people, especially outside of the African-American community, have been asking, what can we do? And so the HBCU is one of those areas where they feel that they can help. They want to give money. They want to do things with. They're raising their hands. And so this is an important time, given the HBCU brand is so strong right now. And during COVID, we have been, it's been a blessing in this sense, in that it created this thing that we call these virtual meetings. So companies are looking to be involved together, saying that I don't have to physically come to a meeting, that I can pay my dues and I can participate virtually, which gives me that work-life balance that I so desire. This is a blessing that we're taking advantage of. And so I think African-Americans are looking to be involved. And so the regional vice presidents, I think we've been handed a gift, and all we got to do is just go out and work in the fields and bring those members to our organization. And given we're in a virtual space, we basically phrase it as chapters without borders, because now a person can join from anywhere and be involved. So they don't have to physically be at a chapter. And so now we have free reign to bring in members from anywhere now. And so I think we have to take advantage of that. And I just speaking from our own chapter, how we've done this in Washington, DC, we've grown from a small chapter to a large chapter, but I think it's been driven by the virtual space that we're in and people raising their hands saying, I want to be involved. So we started the year at 28 members going into our membership drive last year from October to December. And as of today, we're at 138 members. So people are wanting to be involved. They feel that you guys are doing some things that are advancing our alumni association. I want to be involved. And so I think the regional vice presidents, we are going to continue to try to leverage the gift that we've been given in this virtual space and to really try to be aggressive in going after our members. I have a quote at the bottom from one of my classmates. Actually, she graduated a couple years after me, but we were there together. And I had communicated with her since becoming president of our chapter out here, and she's in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. She basically said over time that I appreciate you guys reaching out to me. I wanted to join. You copied me on your emails, on your newsletters. I stayed involved and abreast of what you guys were doing. And now I've joined, and I know I have at least 8 or 9 other members, alumni in Harrisburg, that I know will want to join too. And so we don't have to worry about starting a chapter right now. Just get 1 or 2 members in a particular area, and then we'll go from there. And once we get 5 or 6 then we can revisit the opportunity of forming a chapter in that area. But get them involved is the first step. And that's all I have.
Yolanda Carter is our recording secretary, and her roles and responsibilities are: she records the minutes of all of the association general membership meetings, executive meetings, and copies should be sent to all committee members within 15 days following the meeting. And she's responsible for collecting and disseminating all of the association's correspondences.
Good morning. I'm Shakita Goodlow-Suggs. I'm the financial secretary. The duties of the financial secretary is to collect, receive, record, and deposit all association funds. And how this is done, we receive the funds from the Alumni Affairs Office, Ms. Belinda Fitz and the Alumni Affairs Office. They normally present checks and transmittals to us, to the financial secretary and the treasurer. These, if by cash, the Alumni Affairs Office deposits the check into our bank account and submit the transmittal and the copy of the deposit slip to the financial secretary and the treasurer. We keep a record of the financial standing of the members, and this is done currently by Member Planet. Ms. Belinda Fitz, she normally makes sure every active member is within Member Planet so that we can submit that, we have that information whenever needed. We present a record of the financial report to the association. Normally we work closely with the treasurer, and the financial secretary presents the monthly income to the treasurer for her records and for the association. Once again, we have a list of the active members when needed. We assist the president in the development of the annual budget, the president and the treasurer. The financial secretary also assists the treasurer with providing information for the external audit. We communicate often with the Alumni Affairs Office regarding the membership that we have, and also make sure we can access it by Member Planet, as I stated earlier. We work close, the financial secretary works closely with the treasurer and the president and other committees. Also, the financial secretary is bonded at the expense of the association.
And I am Karen House Samuels, the association treasurer. The treasurer shall have custody of all funds of the association and shall make disbursements in accordance with an approved budget and as authorized by the president. The treasurer shall be responsible for the maintenance of such accounts and records as required by the bylaws in accordance with generally accepted accounting procedures. The treasurer shall make a written report of all income and expenditures at the board meeting and at all membership meetings. This report is a year-to-date budget versus actual financial reports, along with other pertinent data is in the report, which is provided on a quarterly basis. The treasurer shall ensure that regulatory and tax reports are completed as required annually and timely. The treasurer shall assist the president along with the financial secretary in the development of an annual budget. The committee chairs will be receiving an email with the 2022 budget forecast template. They will they will have committee meetings. They will come up with their calendar and their budget and submit that information to me. And the president and the financial secretary and I will go over that and get a budget together, which we would then present to the board of directors. The treasurer shall be bonded at the expense of the association and shall present all records to the audit committee annually and upon request.
Good morning. I'm Tricia Jordan, and as the Executive Secretary, I serve as the primary facilitator for the association's business. By this, I mean coordinate meeting dates and times, sending out meeting notices, putting together briefings, running charts the day of, calling roll, and streaming to social media when called upon. I maintain a current copy of the association's constitution and bylaws. I also do whatever other ad hoc tasks that the board of directors and executive committee requires, whether that be drafting correspondence or working on any committee where needed. I'm here to basically help the executive committee and board of directors run smoothly.
Okay, I'm Johnny Kirk, the parliamentarian. Next slide, please. It shall be the duty of the parliamentarian to give advice to the chair and when requested to any other member. It shall also be the duty of the parliamentarian as efficient as possible to call attention to the chair to any error in proceedings that may affect the substantive right of any member or otherwise do harm. The parliamentary duty shall be limited to advising and not presiding. I read that again. The parliamentarian's duties shall be limited to advising and not presiding. Unless otherwise provided by the constitutional bylaws, by the board of directors, the parliamentarian shall use Robert Rules of Order as a guiding authority on parliamentary procedures. Next slide. And I included this slide so people can be somewhat familiar with Robert Rules of Order, but I would like to recommend that all parliamentarians purchase Robert Rules of Order newly revised 12th edition. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Recording in progress.
I am Carol Watkins, Association Chaplain. Next slide, please. It shall be the duty of the chaplain to conduct devotional services at all meetings of the board of directors, executive committee, and general body. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jermaine Ralph. I was a COP chair from 2019 to 2021. The Council of Presidents is the committee that basically incorporates all the chapters within the association. The duty of the Council of Presidents is to preside over the Council of Presidents meeting and also to relay any information that is needed from the chapters to the executive committee or the board of directors. Being in the position of Council of Presidents, you're also gonna assist the chapters in if they have questions that may occur for their chapters. If you have new presidents, to assist them in getting acclimated to their position, as well as making sure that you share information with other chapters of things that one chapter is doing, so that way they can all come together and grow to become, one organization. Thank you again for your time.
Good morning. My name is Michael Miller. I am one of the 7 members at large that make up the board of directors. We are elected by the general body as part of our annual election. The members of, okay, here we go. Each member at large must promote the goals and support the association and the board. And we also must be fluent and knowledgeable of the Constitution and bylaws. The members at large, this is self-explanatory, must be a positive influence to the association and the board, and must attend meetings and regularly and promptly. Each member must develop projects and programs to benefit Alabama A&M through the association. And this could include many areas, including student retention, recruiting, development and advancement support, making contributions of equipment and facilities through your corporations and your other institutions that you may be affiliated with, support the faculty and staff and their goals and objectives, supporting fundraising and other government relations. And in my term, first year, been very instrumental in being part of the fundraising committee. You may have seen our slogan this past year, our HBCU, our responsibility, where that team, which I was a part of, I was able to make sure we came up with a plan to support our scholarship program. But again, as a board member and member at large, it's a great opportunity, one, to get involved and support the officers of the association, as well as the Alabama A&M University. Thank you.
So at this time, I would present other appointed offices which are appointed by the president or the board. As you can see, appointed by the board of directors is also our legal advisor, and that responsibility and role include shall inform legal options or legal assistance on a variety of matters to ensure that the association actions in particular matters are legally sound. Other position is the news editor. This year we have our newsletter, which is in full operation. We have had one copy. The next copy should be coming out any day now. And the roles and responsibility is publishing periodic newsletter and mailings to the association members, supporters, and friends of the university, as well as other duties. The historian, which is assisted by the newsletter committee or person, and they're responsible for documenting and maintaining a written report of activities and accomplishments of the association. And I would like to say Dr. Bernice Richardson is our historian, and she have received some information from Elise Sims, so she should be putting together something soon for the association. The advisor of the pre-alumni chapter, with the assistance of the director of alumni affairs, Mrs. Sandra Stubbs. So she takes care of that position for the association. And last, the custodian, which mainly maintains the inventory of the association. Thank you. Now we will have the committees of the association presented by Joseph Ferguson. Joseph.
Good morning. All right, can you hear me? All right, good morning. Our associate committees are appointed by our president, Mary Jones Moore. Each committee holds a chair and co-chair. I will list out our committees that are appointed, starting with programs. You heard from Mr. Terrence Vickerstaff. He's the VP of Chair. Membership, Mrs. Bridget Hickley, who is the chair, and our co-chair, Rachel Walker, who's the co-chair. Scholarship, we have Mrs. Katrina Hill, who's the chair, and Mrs. Zeandra English, who is the co-chair. Fundraiser, we have Mr. Joe Ayrton, who's the chair, and Mike Miller, who's the co-chair. Constitution and Bylaws, Johnny Kirk, chair, Faith Washington, co-chair. Awards, Rashida Harris, who's the chair, and Melina Whitten, who's the co-chair. Hospitality, Verlency Stewart, chair. Rashida Burdson Harris, who's the co-chair. Government Relations, Damian Green, chair. Erskine McKinnon, co-chair. Publication, Joe Murkison, chair. Disa Jones, co-chair. Audit, Carrie Hill, chair. And Enrica Buchanan, co-chair. Credential and Registration, Shakita Gooden Suggs, who's chair, and Mrs. Tricia Jordan Griffin, who's co-chair. Technology, we have Miss Shelby King, chair, and Rashida Wilkerson, co-chair. Marketing, Jamal Ali, chair, and Investment, Albert Benefield, chair. Now, before we move on, I want to briefly state what each committee is over. Just a brief summary, as we have heard a little bit before. The program is the committee to be chaired by the vice president and shall develop appropriate and timely programs and activities for the association in areas such as recruitment, athletics, and student activities. For membership, the membership shall be organized to develop a program which will attract members into the association. Scholarship, it shall be responsible for committees to develop criteria for distributing scholarships and to recommend to the board of trustees, which shall make them known to the general membership. We also have fundraising. As we heard before, the committee shall design, develop, and implement a program for fundraising activities for the association. Constitution and bylaws, the committee shall be chaired by the parliamentarian. The committee shall receive proposed revisions, amendments, and other changes to the Constitution and bylaws on or before January 1st of the distribution of the local chapters and general membership for discussion. The Constitution amendment are mailed to each of the active associations, and the bylaws are amended by the board. The award, it shall be duty of the committee to develop criteria for submitting nominees for each of the categories at the annual meeting upon advice and consent of the board of directors. Hospitality and courtesy, the committee shall function to create a hospitable atmosphere for returning alumni and friends. Government relations, the committee shall be organized to maintain the AAMU network throughout the state of Alabama and the nation. It shall be the duty of this committee to provide each chapter president and the board of directors, executive committee member at large, the names, addresses, and phone numbers of each elected state and national official who has voting powers that affect our growth. Publication, the committee shall be chaired by the news editor and shall assist in the news edit carrying on the duties of the office. Audit, the audit committee shall perform an audit of the association financial records, including records held by the treasurer, financial treasurer, and executive secretary in accordance with the general accepted auditing practices. This committee shall ensure that all required reports, including the annual IRS reports regarding tax exempt status, are properly and timely filed. The Credentials and Registration Committee shall function solely in coordination with the Executive Secretary and AAMU Director of Alumni Affairs to handle registration for all meetings of the association and board of directors. Technology team. The committee shall be responsible for coordinating all activities in preparation for the annual meeting of the General Assembly. Marketing, promote, and publicize seek opportunities to share events outside of the Alumni Association, gather opportunities for advancement of organizations. And the investment, seek opportunities to better advance our Alumni Association. That concludes my committee report.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kerry Hale. I'm serving as the Association Nominations and Elections Committee Chair. Next slide, please. So the Nominations and Elections Committee is composed of representatives from each region that is selected by their individual regional vice presidents. The Nomination Election Committee shall solicit recommendations for nominations by providing a standardized form for each active member and chapter. The committee will provide the election procedures, including deadlines, as well as the list of offices to be filled, along with the duties and qualifications of each officer. The completed forms with the background information must then be returned to the Nominations and Elections Committee. Next slide. I stated earlier, this information has already gone out to the membership. 22 election timeline includes January 15th, which is coming up next week as the deadline for our nominations to be returned via email, and that'll be returned to AAMU Alumni Elections at gmail.com. That email address is in the information that went out to the membership. If you have not received an email back confirming that you have submitted your nomination form, that means we have not received it as of yet, so please do so that we can send you that information. On March 15th, the nominees slate will then be nominees will be given email to each active member. We will make that that information go out to the membership. On April 1st, our polls will open for voting via election runner. Those polls will stay open, as you see, until April 5th, when the polls will close. And then on April 8th, the votes will conclude the vote, the tallying of the votes, and the winners will be announced. That concludes my information.
Carrie, I believe you have one more slide.
Wasn't aware that was my slide. Okay. Association membership, serving and voting eligibility. Only active members shall have the right to vote and to hold office in the association. That includes active members, maroon and white life members, silver life, or gold life members. Associate members shall enjoy the rights and privileges of an active member, except the privilege of voting at the association meetings and the right to hold office in the association. Associate members may, however, serve on committees. Corporate members shall enjoy the rights and privileges of an active member, again, except the privilege of voting at association meetings and the right to hold an office in the association. Corporate members may serve on committees as appointed, but may not vote. And our honorary members shall enjoy the rights and privileges of active members, again, except the privilege of voting at association meetings and the right to hold an office in the association. Now, procedures for selections for this class of membership shall be established by the board of directors.
Now we will take questions and answers for our questions and answer box. We have a few. So if we can get all of our panelists to present themselves and be ready to answer questions. First question is about regional vice presidents. The role of the regional vice president has been unclear. It seems like an important role. If a member is interested in that role, are there resources that the regional vice president can access to perform their duties? Two-part question, are there goals established so that a regional vice president has a baseline of activities? I'm not sure if Jamal Ali is available to answer that question or other regional VPs. Okay, thank you, Mr. Ali.
Yes, I had answered in the chat, but no clear goals have been defined. I think that kind of goes to the individual regional vice president. But at the end of the day, the goal is to develop chapters in your respective region and to increase memberships. So as I indicated in the chat, that it really starts with good data, a good database of information of who are the alums in the area. And that's an ongoing challenge that we're trying to get better at. Once we have good information, then it just basically comes down to outreach and doing making a continuous effort to reach as many of those alumni as you can, to either organize them, get them involved in a local chapter, or if you have enough in a area where there is not a chapter, you can organize them there. But it really starts with good, reliable, sound information, contact information from the Alumni Association. And as I said, that's an ongoing challenge. If we could solve that problem, that is step one. That is fundamental and that's critical to our growth.
Thank you. And I am aware that some of these were answered in the chat, but we may cover them just so the entire attendee list can hear the answers. Treasurer, when are committee budgets due and how is a request made? Karen, I can read your response. Karen will be emailing that information out to the committee chairs tonight. Budgets will be due by the 15th. Another question is, so there are 7 member-at-large positions available. Are they in regions or nationwide?
Hello, this is Michael Miller. I'll answer that question. Those positions are nationwide, not just nominate members at large, and they can be in any region. So it's no restrictions there.
So another question, member at large. The Our HBCU, Our Responsibility was a great slogan that we all love. What other programs have been executed by members at large?
Again, members at large are, we have not as a whole had any programs this year to be defined as a program. But my goal, if reelected, is to just bring us all together and come up with some additional things outside of the fundraising campaigns that we're trying to do. So look forward to some new things to come.
Thank you. There was a question about, will this presentation be provided to the alumni chapter president? This presentation will be provided to all that were registered as well as that attended. So you will receive an email from Zoom that will include a link to where you can go view this presentation on our YouTube. And within 2 days of, you'll receive it within 2 days of this meeting closing, and it'll live there for historical value. You'll also receive a survey to take about elections and things like that. So in 2 days, you should receive that. Next question, how does the Alumni Association work in hands with Alumni Affairs? Does anyone want to tackle that question?
Well, I will. The Alumni Affairs is there. They serve as a liaison between the association and the university. So if there's anything happening on campus and if we have not received information, it will be disseminated to the association.
So there's a question for the nomination committee. Why is there 3 months if the process is digital?
Good morning. This is the first year that we are going purely digital. The concern from the committee was that to ensure the integrity of the process, that we take the historical timeline that's been done in the past of the 3 months to ensure that we don't skip a step. It will be the endeavor of the committee as we go forward to shorten that timeline as people get more comfortable with the process.
All right, there's another question. Thank you, Mr. Hill. How is the area that our chapter covers determined? So maybe that is as far as region, or you mean like in a specific location, how wide would your reach be? So when we think about chapters in different areas, how is it determined how far that chapter covers? Like you have multiple chapters in Alabama. Where does the line end? How do you know which chapter you're a part of? Are you a part of, Central Georgia or Atlanta? Who can answer that question?
Well, some of the chapters in certain areas Like some say Lee County, so they cover the Lee County. Some, like the Metro Atlanta covers all the 7 counties in Metro Atlanta. Middle Georgia, there's only one chapter in certain states, so that chapter actually incorporates the entire state.
And if you're interested in starting a chapter in your area, if there's not an existing chapter, you can reach out to the regional RVP. And Jamal provided a map, so you can refer to that map to see, as well as to find out who your regional vice president is.
Okay. And this is Natasha here. I'll just throw in something Jamal Ali said about Chapters Without Borders. You know, because we are in this virtual, realm, you can pretty much join any chapter you would like and pretty much participate in that way. So if there's not one in your area and you're not interested in starting, then get connected with the chapter, because I'm sure there are virtual ways where you can connect. Another question. Are there funds available to assist regional vice presidents? Ms. Karen stated, yes, there are. There is a line item on the budget for regional vice presidents and VPs. Another question, can members join local chapters outside of the region for where they live?
Yeah, I think you just answered that, Natasha. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, you can.
And just to elaborate on that a little bit more, the main thing is to get a non-active member involved. And so sometimes a member might live in a city where there might be a chapter, and for some reason they have not joined that chapter, or for whatever reason. But there could be a neighboring state, or where they have friendships, or they just moved from, that they want to join that chapter. And by all means, welcome them to that chapter. The main thing is to get them on the rolls, then we can go from there.
Thank you. It says, what is the timeline for being elected?
Well, each term consists of 2 years, and each person can serve in that office for 2 consecutive terms.
Is there a set fee for corporate membership on the national level? And are there levels of corporate membership?
No, and we only have our membership levels are as far as being in the association is regular membership, maroon and white, gold,
And silver.
and silver. I had to think about it.
So do we have any corporate membership level set up?
At this time, I don't believe we have any corporate memberships, but that's something that as the associate and as the board, that's something that should be a goal of ours, to try and recruit corporate membership that would be beneficial to the association.
So here's another question about regional vice presidents. Why are there no clear roles for regional vice president? Without clear roles, regional vice presidents may or may or may not be effective, and the position is just a title. So I definitely want to add an additional comment from one of our regional vice presidents that's on the call, and it's at times the actual vice president of the association will set goals for that regional vice president. But Jamal, if you wanted to kind of tackle that.
Yeah, I think they meant regional goals versus regional roles. Again, that individual vice president can set his or her own goals. My personal goals are to develop. So you set your own, and I'm looking at Pennsylvania and New Jersey as 2 of my areas when I took on this opportunity. The whole region is fair game, but I know there are resources available, and resources mean alumni in those 2 states. And so that was my goal, to cultivate those two states in particular for starters. And this was the first year. And so we were able to get members in New Jersey and in Pennsylvania to join our chapter. The next step now is to take those members and now let's develop that base in those respective states to see if we can get 4 or 5 more organized. And then the next step would be to establish that chapter. But my first goal was to identify the 2 states where I felt I had opportunities, and that was New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and that's what we've done. So it would come down to the individual region working with the vice president, regional vice president, working with the vice president of the association to develop a plan of attack. But it's not just nilly-willy to just take off and do things. I think there's a structured approach, and it comes down to that particular regional vice president to develop that in association with the vice president of the organization.
A piggyback on that literally just came through that says, should the regional VP meet to establish or formulate some goals?
And we do that from time to time. Terrence has done a good job, but yeah, there's always an opportunity to bring the regional VPs together to review best bets and see what's working, what's not working, and see how we can get better. So yeah, there's always an opportunity to do that. And we haven't done it enough. So that's a good question, and we can get better at it.
And I would like to say that it says the duties of each regional vice president shall be to assist the president to organize new chapters, maintain active alumni members, and handle other matters pertaining to alumni in his or her region. So this, like Jamal said, you set your goals. You're the regional VP, you set your goals for your area. The thing is that you have to look at your area and see which chapters are active or not active, reach out to the individuals to see if they would like to start a chapter. So that's up to you. You have to set your goals and move forward. Now, I would like to say, and I had suggested to Sarah Robusky, who is Vice President of Region 2, that I would like to see the regions have a regional conference or a regional leadership meeting. So therefore, the regional RVPs can come together and share ideas. So that's something that could happen in the future.
Yeah, and just one other thought on that. I think these are great questions, and hopefully the people asking the questions are obviously interested, I would hope, because we need that type of thinking. We need that type of energy. And if we can continue to grow our memberships, and you look at our major cities across the country, and it's not just limited to the cities, but you got DC, Chicago, Atlanta, Houston, Birmingham, Huntsville, Dallas, Mobile, all those major cities. If we continue to push the numbers in those major cities and then do it across the board, we talk about an Alumni Association membership of 2,000. It should be double that. We should be at 5,000 or more. And then we have to compare ourselves to the other HBCUs. Alabama A&M, if we take advantage of this virtual space and the branding of the HBCU brand is hot right now. If we continue to take advantage of that, we can drop some social media bullets that Alabama A&M's Alumni Association is the fastest growing among all HBCUs. And that probably will create some healthy competition among the other institutions, which would be a good thing for HBCUs in general. And I think those are the things that philanthropic people are looking for. What are they doing in their own organizations, their own, like I said, our responsibility, our HBCU. So I think we're on to something here. We just got to continue to leverage it. I think it's good questions. The RVPs, there's a better job we can do. And I think we just got to capitalize on the times that we're in. And it looks like we got some excitement and some energy on the phone that's looking to join the RVP role.
I completely agree. So if you are interested, that is an elected position. So, those that cannot do teach, but if you can coach and you can get it active, then please submit that nomination by January 15th. Just another clarification when they were asking about how our chapter area is defined. A chapter area is determined when the chapter application is submitted. The group should request the area in which they would like to serve. So if you want to cover a larger area, make sure when that chapter area is, when you submit for that chapter, you cover that area. So it is a defined area. More questions. What is a term's time frame? Is it August to August? If they start during the summer conference, does it end during that time also?
Well, I would take a stab at that. So we recently changed our fiscal year from January to December. So we are trying to get everything set up on that cycle. Because of the pandemic and time got away from us, we had to move very swiftly to go ahead and get the nomination and election committee to set up the elections for the upcoming term. So as he stated, as time moves, we will make sure that we act accordingly to our fiscal year.
Thank you. It says, why aren't all active members eligible to run for office? So Mr. Carey, maybe you can answer that. But when I was reading through the bylaws, I noticed that active member is a title, not an action. So like active member was, I'll actually move back to that slide so we can see it. So active members is a title that's given to anyone who pays versus associate level, corporate, and honorary. But Mr. Carey, why aren't all active members eligible to run for office? Because that was kind of confusing to me as well.
I'm not sure that that's the, I'm trying to pull up a slide to discuss that. Here we go. If you read the qualifications in the nominations packet, it identified, there's a difference in being active and being in good standing. You need to be active and in good standing within 3 consecutive years. So a person who just comes off, just joins the association or a chapter who hasn't been an active member, it would be unreasonable to think that that person can come in and automatically run for office because he or she hears something that they disagree with. Instead of being involved in what the chapter and association is doing for a number of years. So the qualifications of running is that it's a member in good standing and for different positions for, let's say, 3 consecutive years. It's no different from any other organizations where there's a requirement of being actively involved in an organization for more than a month or more than a year in order to come in, because that's what's best for the association as a whole versus what's best for the individual. So it's again, it's the analogy, that, the sum of the parts. So you want to ensure that you're doing what's best for the association. So surely you're going to be an active member, but you need to be in good standing in an individual chapter, have other criteria of performing specific duties in that specific, particular position before you take on something else.
Okay. What are the benefits of a corporate membership? Are there any?
Oh, gosh. I would have to refer to the Constitution and
Okay. So we will get back to you all with that question answered.
yes.
Member at large. What were the ideas for the past year? What impeded them from being executed? Or were they? Maybe they were executed.
Well, as I stated earlier, the duties, as is stated in the position title, we as members at large are part of the board of directors. We have not, unlike the regional VPs or other committees, we have not organized or subdivided ourselves into coming together as the 7 members at large to institute new programs or projects. We've been supporting the committees and the planned activities for like fundraising, as I mentioned earlier, to make sure we're successful in those. But as we go in the future, I personally would like to see us come up with new projects as well to do exactly what's stated here. Now, what's stated in the definition of the responsibilities when it was written, what did it really mean? But I think members at large is more of a supporting member of the board, not to be a separate entity within the board or a separate committee. But in the future, though, fostering and coming up with new ideas that we can do, and I'll give an example as I worked with the president this year, we had some committees that went defunct, right? So we made some discussion on what do we do about it, like the golf tournament. We proposed making some changes to turn it over to the fundraising committee, and that's what's going to happen this year. The fundraising committee will take that over, and yours truly will probably be involved in that as a quote fundraising committee co-chair or committee chairman for the golf tournament. But as members at large, it's just that, supporting the board, making sure we do our business in accordance with the Constitution and bylaws, but not necessarily be a separate entity doing additional or disjointed projects with the association.
All right, thank you.
A
question about, sorry, go ahead, President Mary.
Just like to say, with the members at large, I assigned each member at large to a committee. So they serve on various committees.
Are officer terms 1 or 2 years?
Okay. The terms of office is 2 years. A person can serve in an office for 2 consecutive terms, but a term is 2 years.
All right, so this one's a little bit lengthy. Regarding membership growth and recruitment, there has been some confusion regarding associate membership due. What is due amounts for national associate membership? Also, please clarify if attendance or graduation from Alabama A&M University qualifies an individual as eligible for regular membership status. So the second half is, could you just have went to A&M and be a part of the Alumni Association, or did you have to graduate to be a part of the Alumni Association as a regular member?
Okay, so anyone that attended Alabama A&M, whether it was 1 class, a semester, 2 semesters, you can join the association as a regular member. An associate member is like a family member, a friend, someone in the community that wants to serve at HBCU. They can join as an associate member.
Madam President, can you put that slide back up that Carrie Hale briefed earlier to talk to that?
Sit right there.
I think it doesn't clearly define, because that's, I've heard conversations around that, what is defined as an alumnus. And believe it or not, the term is just attending the university, not actually graduating.
Right. Exactly.
So what Madam President is saying is that if you ever went there, you're an alum. If you never went there and you would like to join the association, then you can join at the associate level. So yeah, so if you're a spouse of somebody who went somewhere, or you just found them online and want to join, then you can be associate. But if you ever registered for a class up there and paid for it, then you can join as a regular member of the Alumni Association.
And if you're a graduate, you really need to pay regular member dues or maroon and white and silver. You should not be paying associate member dues.
Correct.
Exactly. And I would like to say that once you graduate, your first year, after you graduate, you are a member of the association as a regular member. So as stated at the graduation, I did inform the graduates that their first year is free in the association. I did encourage them to join a chapter wherever they end up, check to see if there's a local chapter. If not, inquire about a chapter, about joining, but at least pay your national dues.
So there's a question, the whole role active is confusing, like the active member. So I'll take a stab at this as one who just recently read through everything. So active in this sense of running for office or being elected, that is defined in that nominations and election packet that has the 3-year term and good standing, blah, blah, blah. But if you look through the Constitution for our association, active is more of a noun than a verb. Like active member versus associate member versus corporate member. So I can definitely see why that is confusing. I think I saw it in our bylaws. If you would like a copy, you have to contact and they'll mail you a copy. So we haven't moved into the digital realm yet. Maybe that will be updated in the next ones, but we should really take a peek at those. And maybe that is something that could be adjusted to make that more clearly defined in our next upcoming edits. So yes, ma'am.
Okay, so noted. But as in any organization, in order to run for an office, active mean you have to be a paid member. You just can't be active in a chapter, going to the meetings, participating in events. You have to have paid your dues. So maybe we just need to add, paid. We need to add that verbiage in there. But you have to be a paid member in order to seek office. And as stated by Mr. Hale, read the packet that was disseminated to the members if you're interested in running for an office. All the qualifications are there in the packet.
This is more of a comment, but it says the rationale for a member in good standing seems like an old thinking and a disincentive to get engagement from younger members or newer members that are interested in serving the association. The hope is that the association would examine these types of limitations for all positions for future elections, as there are likely positions that could be open to everyone. So we'll definitely take that comment and give it to elections and nominations and maybe even bylaws and see if that's something that they could look into, because we definitely don't want to miss any opportunities for people to serve. All right, let's see. The next question is there a process to inform chapters or regions of alumni in the area? And how is and when is this process updated and by whom? So you're asking for is there a way to figure out the alums that are in your area so then you can start to connect with them? And who keeps that list and who can you request that list from?
Well, the Office of Alumni Affairs, they have a listing of graduates. We have Member Planet, a database that we use for members who have paid their dues. And if a chapter president wants to see who's active in the area on the national level, they can request that list and try and reach out to those individuals. However, as Jamal had presented the map, that's a good tool that you can refer to and see where, and also on the alumni page that we have a list of the listing of the chapters there. And as stated, if there's not a chapter in your area, you can contact one of the chapters that's closest to you. If you would like to start a chapter, you can get in contact with your regional vice president. So there are ways, hopefully, the chapters will have events, which they do, so that you can see that Alabama A&M University alumni are present in the areas. And a lot of times when people see me in my A&M shirt, they're asking me about the Alumni Association. So, word of mouth is really good. If you know somebody that is an alum, I ask them all the time, are you a member of the Alumni Association? Would you like to join? Would you like information? So, as alum, that's something that we are responsible. That's one of our responsibilities as well.
And Mary, I'd like to add to that. This past year, as they were doing the membership drive, there was, as members joined, there was a spreadsheet sent out to the COP, which was data mined and disseminated to each chapter for the members that had joined that were in their area.
Exactly.
If I could add to that, that question, that is fundamental to what we're doing as an alumni association. We have to have data from the university that identifies alums by region. I mean, that I see that map. The next step of that map should be a heat map. Where are the opportunity areas on that map, which is provided and driven by the university saying there are X number of alums that have moved to Louisville or wherever. And that should mobilize us to concentrate on those areas. But it really starts with good, reliable data. And I think as we bring members in, we should ask them, like we do in other organizations, for referrals of do they know of other alums that would be willing to join. And so that we have to capture that information as best we can. Word of mouth, all of that is good, but we got to have electronic digital data that we can pull up and respond to in a moment's notice.
Mr. Michael, did you want to?
Yes, I'd like to add to that too, if you don't mind. There's a fundamental statement in our Normalite Creed that says that I, as a Normalite, will keep my information updated and notify the association of my location and how to contact me. That's the fundamental thing that we have broken here. You know, the association can't find you. You have to keep your data updated. And with that, if we individually, as we said, Mary just said, as the president just stated, if we run into people that we know with the A&M, if we have friends, roommates, line brothers and sisters, football player, you know, or whatever affinity group we were in, get them to update their information, because we as an association don't own their information. That Normalite Creed says that's my individual responsibility to keep my information updated. And we got to inspire our friends and colleagues to do the same so we can be effective in getting our members located in the right chapters or within the regions they live. And, you know, we see that right here in Huntsville, right? I ride around town since I've been living here, and I know hundreds of people that are not in the association. I can only ask them to update the information or inspire them to join.
And so to add on to that, like I said, the Alumni Affairs, they have a directory. So if you have moved, go ahead and submit your information, your updated information to Alumni Affairs. And that way they will disseminate that information to us, you know, so that we can present it to the presidents of the local chapters. But so that it starts with us. Membership starts with us.
So we will just take a few more and then we will close because we want to be mindful of the time. There was a question that seems to be gone, so let me go back and find it. It was regarding, I think it was asking about the list. I think the question said if, who do you contact for a listing of what years you were active and paid? Is that possible to get your membership history?
I'm not sure. I would have to contact our association representative as well as our director of alumni affairs and see if that's possible. I'm not sure who's asking that question, but you can contact the Office of Alumni Affairs. Our alumni representative is seated in that office.
This was a question that was answered in the chat, but it was a good question. Is the first year free for recent grads, national at the national level, or both? It was answered, national is covered for the first year for recent graduates. Chapters have the discretion to waive dues. So if you have a recent grad, they're automatically joined the national. Please tell them to contact their local chapter if they're interested in joining, and maybe that fee could be waived at that level too.
Exactly. And a lot of the chapters practice that already.
All right. I think that wraps all of our questions from the Q&A box as well as the chat. And this was really good. So thank you everybody for your questions. You seem to be really engaged, so please look out for that survey and make sure you can watch this recording. Any of the panelists, did you have anything to add before President Mary closes us out?
This is Joe. Just real quick, for the appointed committees, even though we have chairs and co-chairs, if you would like to be involved in any of those committees, please reach out to the chairs and co-chairs, as we all have individual meetings that we would love for you to be a part of.
And if I can add to that, Joe, the marketing committee, we're actually trying to form a committee. So we're looking for members. So please reach out to me, Jamal Ali, if you're interested in joining the marketing committee.
And that works the same for the investment committee. Albert Benefield, our immediate past president, is the chair of that committee. So if you have expertise in investment, please contact him.
Scholarship committee definitely needs organized members.
All committees, all of them.
Can we send out the contact information for the committee chairs and co-chairs that allow them to do so?
It is included in the deck, so you therefore you can reach out to them. So I like to say that this year we had all of our committees active, and they've done a great job. The chairpersons and their committees have really done a great job, and we're looking forward to moving our association to the next level, and appreciate everyone on the call. You know, if you would like to join a committee, please do. So I'm at my closing remarks. I see the screen up, but once again, our committees have been presented. And if you would like to join, please reach out to the chairpersons. I'd like to thank all of our board of directors for participating today. If you're interested in running for office, please refer to the information that was disseminated by the Nomination and Elections Committee. And for all of you who submitted questions, those were very great questions. And as the tech team stated, this will be presented to you, and you will have a certain time to go back and look at it. A copy of the deck will be disseminated to the chapter president. So we want to make sure that this is given to all of the presidents. And I'd also like to say that our publications committee, Joseph Merkerson, that he has worked very well with our news editor. They're a great team. And I just want to thank them for getting out our information to the Alumni Association members. If there aren't any other questions, thank you for your time. Let's all get involved. As Michael Miller, one of our members at large, stated, and as you have seen before, our HBCU, our responsibility. Be looking out for more information regarding round 2 of our HBCU, our responsibility, as well as the membership committee. We will have our international alumni program on January the 22nd. That information will be sent out shortly. And so we hope that you all will log on and be present. And as we invite all of our international members to the association, we have several out there and they're interested. So we just got to make sure that we are very hospitable and in recruiting them to join the association.
Madam President.
Yes, ma'am.
This is Carol. Will we get a list of those? I want to join some of those committees. Will we get can we get an email sent to us with those people and their contact information? Please.
Yes. It will be included in the deck.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Madam President, this is Johnny Kirk. You know, we've had an outstanding year. Things are going extremely well. Everybody working. So I think we need to get our hats off to our outstanding leadership from Miss Mary Moore, our president. Thank you so much for all that you do.
Yay, Mary.
Thank you. And so we will be having more sessions like this. I think You know, as I always say, knowledge is power. And so this was a very great workshop. We had great response, great questions and participation. So we would look forward to doing more of the tech talk sessions in the future. So with that being said, I conclude my closing remarks, and if our chaplain would close us out with a word of prayer.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this opportunity. We thank you for all these wonderful people who have volunteered their time to serve Alabama A&M University. Lord, keep us together, keep our circle intact until we meet again. In Jesus' name we pray. Let our bulldogs say amen.
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 Great job,
Amen.
everyone.
Alabama A&M playing
Amen.
Alcorn State today at Elmore.
Yes.
Great
Thank
job,
you.
tech team. Great job, everyone.